Hello, I'm Linda. I'm a demonstrator here in Australia. I'd like to show you a cool little card today. Now this is really simple, very easy. It won't take you a lot of time and not a lot of materials to produce, but I just wanted to show you how I went about making it, and there might be a few little tips for you along the way. So just to get started, I've used copper foil, and you could use any foil you like. You don't have to go with the copper. I just love the way copper and black looks together. And of course you could change the colours of any of these pieces, but I've used copper foil, basic black, and I've got a card base, which in my case is Sahara sand, but you can choose any neutral card base that suits you or whatever you have. And you'll need half a piece. In Australia we use A4 paper, so half a piece of A4. So the piece would normally go here, so half across the middle here will give you exactly the right size for a card. But you can adjust these measurements to whatever suits you. So then my black piece is 10 centimeters wide by 14, just under 14 and a half long, and then this is half a centimeter on each side smaller than that, so 9.5 wide by just below 14 centimeters. Okay, so fairly standard measurements we're starting with. Now, something I really love about all of our foils is that they are really lovely and thick, and they emboss beautifully. The copper, for some reason, seems to be even slightly thicker than the others, and I love the way it looks when it's embossed. So I'm just going to bring my Big Shot in and we'll quickly emboss that. I'm using today the Pine Boughs embossing folder. Nice simple little folder. Just pop this right inside. The upside of your embossing folders is always the side that has the Stampin' Up and the Sizzix logo on it. That's the side that goes up, so facing the shiny side, and then just pop it. Now when we're using our Big Shot, we need to remove one of the platforms. I'm using the thin die adapter platform, but if you were using the one that's hinged, you would just make sure that it's open with only one to tab 1 on the older style platform. So I'm going to pop that through, roll it through. It will roll through pretty easily. It makes that satisfying creaking noise that tells us that it's doing something to the paper. Alright, and there we have our beautifully embossed piece of paper. So yeah, that's the copper foil, just beautiful, and you can't go wrong. I love the drama between the copper and the black. I just think that looks fantastic, but feel free to experiment with other colours too. Alright, so what I did next was I cut this ornament shape here, the one with the little reindeer in the pine trees. I've cut that through my Big Shot. I'm using the Merry Tags framelit, and there's a few different ones. There's one here with a Christmas tree. Any of these would work. This one here, that I like to use this one for shaker cards. I did one on my blog, only my previous blog post before this, so if you wanted to have a look at a shaker card, then that's on my website as well. But this is the one I'm using today, which is the little reindeer and the pine trees. So pop that out of the way, bring this back in. Now, because it's a framelit die, we need to add that platform back in. So if you are using the hinge tab, you want to make sure that it's tab 2 or closed. If you're using the thin die adapter, make sure you've got all the pieces together. Pop your paper in, your little die on top to cut. Pop that through. Sometimes if I want to make absolutely sure, I send it through and then I bring it back again. I really want to make sure that cuts well. So it may not be necessary, but it's kind of a safety thing. Pop that back, take the die off. That's the last I need, the Big Shot now. That's all I needed it for. Right. Now, the die is usually still stuck in there. I can push this through because it'll just pull off. Okay, and the pieces just pop out. Now, if there's any pieces left in, you've got a couple of choices. You can either use your die brush and push it through that way, or you can get your little pokey tool. There's only a couple, so really pokey tool is just fine for this. And pop those last couple of pieces out. There we go. Isn't that cute? I love this little tag. I think that's just beautiful. Alright. So I'm going to position my tag probably probably around here. It doesn't really matter where it's going to go. I want it to look like it's hanging in amongst the branches there. Okay, so I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm using dimensionals just to pop, and you can easily put them below here. Now as for the top bit, you can either leave it floating, or if you want to make sure that they're not going to go anywhere, I just use the edges of my dimensionals to cut a couple of really small bits, and I'm going to put one of those behind the reindeer's body. Oh, it would help if I actually took it off. Didn't quite cut in far enough. That's alright. Behind the reindeer's body, so it's just tiny little bit of dimensionals there. And the other one, where was it? Here it is. I'll pop that one on one of the pine trees. So just so it's not sort of floating around too much. Now I need to make sure that the backs are off those dimensionals so they'll stick. And I'd like my piece to be about there. Okay. Now don't worry about the top being floaty. We're actually going to secure that. I've actually used the copper metallic thread. Now this is really fine. It's designed to be like scrunched up and popped behind different shapes, and I love it used like that. But for this one today, I'm making sure I have plenty. I've doubled it over, and then I've thread that end that I've just doubled through the hole and pulled it as far as I can. Well, not as far as I can, but to give me a good amount, so that I have, and then this one doubled over now goes with it. So I've actually ended up with 4 strands. Okay, and I'm going to make my life easy by turning that over, grabbing a little bit of tearing tape. I love this stuff, I think it's fabulous. Just holding it down in one place. Okay, and all 4 layers, I'm just going to pop them down with the tearing tape, like that. Okay, now I need to make sure it's straight, not quite. Alright, that's pretty straight. If it's not, you can always adjust it from the back. The tearing tape will come back up. Okay, yep, that looks pretty good. Alright, and then just trim it off. So just to hold it placed. No one's going to see what's on the back anyway, so it just holds it there. Alright, so now I've got my piece here. Now I'm ready to put this together. So a bit of I'm using fast fuse because it is my preferred adhesive when I'm actually putting together a card from the base up. If I was putting down pattern paper, I'd use snail, but I like fast fuse for cardstock because it does stick better. It's very strong, and once it's down, it's not going anywhere. Okay, so give it a bit of a rub over to make sure it's adhered properly. It's now on the black background. I'm just going to fold over my Sahara sand piece and use a bone folder. Get a nice crease. Once again, some fast fuse on the back here. Now card's almost done. See how quick and easy this is? Alright, so we've got our card coming along nicely here. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a greeting. I'm actually using the Merry Christmas from the Star of Light stamp set. This is the only stamping on this card, and I am using Stays On. Now, there's going to be, this is maybe going to cause controversy because it is said that you really shouldn't use Stays On, and especially Stays On Cleaner, with our photopolymer or acrylic based stamps. Personally, I'm not going to be able to get anything to stay on the foil except Stays On. Stays On's the only thing that won't rub off. Any of the water-based ones will actually smudge off, and I don't want that. So I'm actually going to use Stays On, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it straight onto my Stampin' Mist and clean it as best I can. It won't be perfect, but that's okay. There you go. Merry Christmas. What do you think? It's cool, huh? So that is it. That's the little card that we're making today. So simple, so easy. I hope that you enjoyed it, and get some of that copper foil. It is just beautiful. If you need more details, you can visit my blog. There's a whole product list there. If you would like to, if you're in Australia and you'd like to place an order, either speak with your demonstrator, or if you don't have one, you're very welcome to contact me or visit my online store and shop with me here in Australia. Thanks guys. Have a fantastic day. Bye bye.